The haters said I couldn't make it 5 shows after getting drunk. In Discord, they were betting against me making it here. Suck it, haters. I am here. I had Chinese food. I am relatively sober.
We got at least an hour to go, man. I wouldn't celebrate just yet.
Pat and I and Ben we have 6 of 8 teams that have made our fantasy playoffs. Times are good. Cheers, buddies. Cheers. So tonight, hopefully you guys tuned in earlier. We talked about the Thanksgiving slate. Excited to have Gretch more as a regular on this channel. And tonight we're going to talk some more season long. We got waivers here for the people who have made it into their season long playoffs. Man, I don't even know where to start. I got to jump on waivers last night because I knew I was going to be hammered today. I actually feel like our waivers are in a pretty good place tonight, Pat.
I do feel like they're in a pretty good place, although I feel like we kind of put the same amount of time into them. We just sort of did it earlier, and now I feel like we probably need to do one last run while we're on the show as usual. But I think overall we're in a pretty good spot. I mean, at this point, the only people that can even bid are the teams that have made the playoffs. So you're competing against a lot less people. You kind of went a little bit aggressive on some of the kicker and defensive bids, which I didn't understand at first, but you're pointing out that you can actually look at the amount of money that the other 3 teams that are allowed to bid have. And if you can come up over the top of them, you can basically pick your kicker and defense. So little things like that tonight that people should keep in mind.
That's right, Nick. I did cheat. The life hack that saved my marriage, ordering $75 in Chinese food takeout tonight. Will keep us. Gretch, where are you at? One of our teams with the 3 of us and Sean Single. We've made the playoffs. How are you looking with your squads?
My other team was Sean. Main event team was Sean and Colm. Did not make it. We're just kind of one player away for most of the year. We lost Cortland Sutton early in the year. That was a bummer. But then my other main event team with a couple people that aren't in the industry, but I co-manage another team. We won our league's total points, so nice. We got the auto bid, and we'll be starting the playoffs next week, obviously. And it's a pretty deep team. I certainly like it. It's a Kyler, has Kirk on it, so Kyler Kirk stack has Kamara, Rojo, DJ Moore, Diggs, Will Fuller, and has Ayuk on the bench, has Dobbins, who, hopefully when he's back is in a good spot. And then all of Mark Andrews, Gronk, and Logan Thomas, so some tight end depth as well.
Nice.
Nice. And I was actually talking with Pat about this. Like, one of the things I wanted to ask you guys about is like how to approach the week 14 to 16 period, particularly like if you have a deep team, because I think there are some interesting like kind of game theory considerations about like not necessarily optimizing for the highest amount of points, but optimizing for the best chance to win. And so there's like, it's very similar to like a GPP. So there would be some arguments for like not playing the same. If you have a deep team, not playing the same lineup all 3 weeks just to make sure you're mixing it up. Because if you hit ceiling weeks from different guys, you're gaining ground on other people who have those same sort of breakout players that everybody has. I can't decide if that's like overthinking it though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that I could see that coming into play definitely weeks 14 to 16 too, and you'll be able to look at some of the other lineups that have made it in. That'd be actually really cool. I wonder, I know Fantasy Mojo, he gets a lot of data from FFPC. It would be interesting to see kind of lineup duplication and starting lineup ownership percentages there to know like, hey, if I do have a close start-sit decision, maybe I break a tie in favor of a guy who isn't going to be started as much. I think for right now, where we are with these last 2 playoff spots for these last 2 weeks, we're definitely just trying to win. And I know when we went through our waivers for tonight, I mean, yeah, like Frank Gore is available in some leagues, and we kind of have some bids in for him. But for the most part, we're doing kicker and defense maneuvering, Pat. Like, there aren't really any standout skill position players that we're really going after right now.
No, there's not. And we actually, I mean, I don't think we have bids in yet for a second kicker, but that's something like next week we're going to have to make sure if we want it that we get the second kicker, the second defense. Have some questions in the chat about second defenses. I think we're going to wait until next week to add the second defense because, in some of our teams, like the team with Ben, we need to win the league to even get into the next round. So we're not thinking about that yet. There are a couple teams where we do have auto bids, and so in those leagues, which would be the first main event we did, and the Crack Rock team and Chasing OT with Column, we're already auto. We were the 1 or 2 seed in those 3 leagues, so we could add a second kicker in those leagues. I don't believe we're doing that though. What do you think about? I guess let's talk through that decision a little bit.
Yeah, my thought is, right now, my thought, I use this. I've started using StreamYard for some of my day job stuff for like webinars and some content stuff. And I've accidentally gone to that widescreen with my boss, and she gets so mad. She's do not ever put that up there again. So yes, that's a bad look for all of us. Anyways, yeah, my thought right now is I think, defense definitely, like a defense can't get hurt. They're going to be out there no matter what. And obviously with COVID and injuries, you can get burned by kickers. But as you mentioned, we still have a week where we can make lineup decisions. So I don't mind going into this week with just one kicker, but heading to the home stretch, I think I am going to be ready to cut some bench depth for a second kicker just to make sure we don't get caught hanging out to dry.
That's how I feel, yeah. Ben, where are you at on that?
We have decided not to carry another kicker.
At all?
Yeah, and it's risky, certainly, but we have the 3 tight ends. Obviously, we want to carry another QB, and we're really sketchy at RB2, so we want to use what bench spots we can to have some running backs. And then we have Zane Gonzalez, who's just been so good. There's like really no scenario where we wouldn't play Zane because like Arizona scores a ton of points and Cliff Kingsbury likes to settle for field goals for some reason. So
he really likes it.
It's a great kicker to have.
Nothing makes him happier.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of risk it. I don't know. Talk me out of that. Is that a terrible idea?
Well, it's just if Zane gets hurt, you're a little bit dusted because this stuff is so tight at the top, and it's so top heavy of a payout.
But how often in 10,000 simulations does your kicker get hurt?
Well,
it could get COVID, I guess, is the other concern.
Yeah,
or COVID.
Well,
yeah, and the other
the Ravens game just got moved, so I don't know.
I mean, I will also say, like Sean mentioned it on our email chain today, like we've had a lot of success playing matchups with kickers this season where we've just kind of chased the best available kicker. So I think there's also some value to just getting 2 kickers in the same way. I think I've been looking at playoff schedules for defenses and being able to pick and choose our spots there. I think there's some value too of, now that we're getting,
are you?
What are you talking about?
You're just Denny Cartering it right now. Like you're
I'm
playing matchups with.
I'm dead serious.
We have all season, yeah.
But a huge factor is we are entering December. Like there are lots of outdoor cold weather games. The scoring is depressed in these things. We want to target guys that have the dome games. Back when I was doing my best ball teams, I'm like, the Raiders, they have 3 home games at the Death Star weeks 14 through 16. Like the Chargers have a really nice schedule, all warm weather games or dome games. Like these are things that actually matter when you're making decisions for the fantasy playoffs. So you can laugh at me, you can write your fucking little Substack, but some of us are out here grinding kicker matches, Ben.
Yeah, well, Zay Gonzalez has 2 home games in Arizona and 1 at New York that I still want to play him at New York. So
at Ben Gretch when Zane Gonzalez like pulls a hammy in week 14.
But I think that's a good point. I mean, the extra kicker does give you the matchup flexibility, and the defense. We've thought about maybe just carrying one defense because
how have we been playing matchups? You guys just said we've been playing matchups.
We've literally been playing matchups.
Yeah, we swap our kicker out
all year. Literally every.
I mean, I just see your kicker bids, and I'm like, whatever. They want a new kicker, we've
added like 40 points to the score.
Yeah.
Hey man, I think we got in on points, so
All right.
I can't believe Gretch is pushing back on this.
I used to write a column about predicting kicker points. I mean, it's not necessarily predicting kicker points, but it was fairly accurate at it. But it's
Ben, what do you think of this comment here?
I don't know. Leone seems like the type of fish that would also want a backup kicker. Like,
get out of here. No, I mean, I do truly think the things about weather and the dome games are important in December for these kickers. And it's why, like, we've been riding Boswell on some teams, and I'm a lot less interested in him down the stretch. I mean, there's a reason Derek Carty's blitz projection model is boosting all of these guys in the dome. The score, like, Ben, you're an analytical dude. You're scoffing at all of this. Like, how are you balking at this?
I'm not.
I did not think this was going to be the flashpoint for the podcast.
I didn't think we spend as much time on kickers. That's what I'm laughing about. We're spending a lot of time on kickers.
Leone's on team kicker. I'm happy to see it. Leone prefers his kickers as old as possible.
I'm sure he does. He's probably still rostering Vinatieri. Like, God.
I just think if you have a chance to win the not having a second in this year at the onesie positions that are not defense, I think that's bad.
I mean, I do. I'm not acknowledging that it's not taking on risk. I think I did, Leone. I think that there is a constraint of roster spots. So this team has Kamara, Ron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, and then we've just stashed 3 more running backs. We have Keyshawn Vaughn, Rashad Penny.
So you have 1 running back for this upcoming week.
Yeah. We're going to start. Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so I think that we have Keyshawn Vaughn and Rashad Penny and Justin Jackson stashed. I don't think any of them are going to be great, but you need more bullets in the chamber to potentially maximize the RB2 slot to have any chance to win also. And then, we already have 2 defenses. We have the 3 tight ends. We can't cut any of our receivers. We're flexing them all the way through, and then our other ones are good. We actually cut a reasonably good receiver last week, Henry Ruggs or something. Because we needed the space for running backs. But you have a constraint. And yeah, you can have a backup at every single spot, but I do think you can make a calculated gamble when you have a guy like Zane Gonzalez, who everyone knows is matchup proof. I mean, he's just the most matchup proof kicker that there is.
And part of this whole conversation, Pat and I do not have 2 kickers on a single one of our teams right now. We're talking about for the playoffs,
when
weeks 14 through 16. Yes.
Yeah.
And there are guys like Pat and I have said goodbye to Laviska Shenault. It has hurt. It makes me, absolutely sick to my stomach. We are literally in a year where picking out breakout wide receivers is fish in a barrel. Chase Claypool, Brandon Ayuk, Denzel Mims. It doesn't matter. All of them break out, except the one we attach our brand to. Except the one I get a signed helmet of. That's the one rookie wide receiver who doesn't break out. Are you fucking kidding me?
God. You knew it was fake all along, didn't you, Pat? Like, we talk about how you and I were on Shenault pre-draft, and we were grinding the tape. And then Pete became the Visca guy, like, right around August when it was really convenient.
Hey man, I'm pretty used to this dynamic. I dig in, I find the guy, and then Pete's out on Twitter doing TikTok.
And now he's complaining about it. He's complaining that the guy you found didn't break out for him.
What is the take on the RotoViz Radio post-draft episode that Sean keeps referencing in all of his articles? It's mine. It's mine that the wide receivers were undervalued.
Yeah, because our takes were both about Shenault.
Yeah, you guys
specifically about Shenault. What?
Wow, what a shitty take about Shenault. You hate to see it.
Well, this is the point.
That's the point.
Is that we were on Shenault before you made it.
Yeah, cool. Bad take, guys. Bad take. I wish you would have been on fucking T. Higgins or literally anyone else other than
all of them.
Not Henry Ruggs.
Shenault or Rager were the 2 Pat chose. Haven't gotten any fantasy points from either of those guys.
Well, we also have Higgins and Claypool, so we're doing okay.
Yeah, this team I have has Ayuk and Pittman. Pittman's been good too. Pittman's the one that I said I couldn't understand anyone taking him over Chenault in rookie drafts.
No. Didn't make any sense.
I still don't really understand.
I'm super psyched to have him on in my high stakes.
Yeah.
That's the way fantasy football goes. But yeah. We got Ayuk. We invested in the rookie wide receiver class. The one that I'm kicking myself on is Justin Jefferson, because I went back and read what I wrote about him pre-draft, and I was excited, but just not as excited. And it was just one of those things where you kind of you have this take that's, I'm a little bit more bullish on Rager than Jefferson, but then I kind of kept doubling down on that to the point where by August I was like, Rager season, and not taking Jefferson. So I'm just disappointed. I have Jefferson in some of the early dynasty drafts that I did, but I didn't bring that enough into the redraft season. So that is the one that I have the biggest regret on.
What are you thinking about right now, Pete?
What am I thinking about?
Because that could have been an animation with I could have seen some thought bubbles come up. You were just doing this one.
It was very much a thought bubble thing.
My thought bubble is, what have I done in my life that has led me to do 5 shows on the eve of Thanksgiving where I'm hammered and arguing about fucking kickers? That's what I'm thinking about.
Well, first of all, that was about 5 to 10 minutes ago now.
I still haven't let it go.
Time to move on. Stay on the current topic.
I can't stop thinking about kickers. If you guys could have one rookie wide receiver on your team for weeks 14 through 16, which one would you pick?
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Jefferson, but Laviska Chenault's a close runner-up.
Claypool would be my second choice.
Claypool would probably be my choice.
Ayuk, Neo says, I think that's a good pick. Not Rager. Someone
Higgins,
says
it can't be Higgins anymore.
You didn't have to write that. That wasn't necessary.
Yeah, Higgins and Lamb are the ones that it could have been at one point, but it can't be now.
When you say not Rager,
it could have been CD too, but I don't think it's CD now.
When you go against Rager, I mean, Philadelphia's playoff schedule here, thanks to the RotoViz Strength of Streaming app, is pretty nice. So is T. Higgins, but he just lost his quarterback, and Ayuk has a nice one as well.
But Samuel's coming back. I'm a little bit. I mean, I just think Claypool and Jefferson are better bets.
They're just in a better spot than Ayuk for sure.
Yeah, Minnesota. So they're at Tampa Bay, home versus Chicago, at New Orleans.
But Ayuk, I don't know if people realize how good Ayuk has been over the last 3 games. I just want to read his stat lines. This dude went 14-7, 75-1 last week. He had a bye last week. He did that the week before. Had the week he had to take off from COVID the week before that, I think. But just before that, he went 10-8, 91-1. And before that, 7-6, 115. I mean, he's been very good for each of his last 3 games since he really kind of established a role. I think that's probably since around when Kittle went down, right? I don't know. I like Ayuk too, but
yeah. And what was interesting too is that you had Richie James break out in his absence, and then he comes back and gets the huge role again. So that's pretty bullish.
He's good.
Yeah.
That's the one where I was talking about this other team. We have Ayuk on our bench because we have DJ Moore and Diggs and Fuller, and then we probably want to be stacking Kyler with Kirk. But I want to make it a point to play Ayuk at some point during that time, the few weeks.
Yeah. It's an interesting point
to try to rotate and try to chase boom weeks if you think there's a matchup or a game setup. I don't know.
And the payout structure on this is so top heavy in the championship round that I think it does make sense to try to chase ceiling. I guess what I would want to know is how chalky can a player be? Is there huge overlap?
That's a good question. Yeah.
What's the highest percent owned that even one player, even the top player, would be?
It's a super good question because the whole impetus for this for me is that I think there's a lot of people who have Kamara like we do, and probably Kyler together, and Diggs is probably our other like elite player, but especially Kamara. And then one guy we would probably need to break out is Mark Andrews. And he was such a clear 2-3 turn guy. I think the Kamara Andrews combination, and then, obviously anyone who's in the playoffs is more likely to have Kyler or Diggs or whatever. Like that's like our core. And I feel like there's probably a lot of teams that have those same 4 teams.
Yeah, but there's going to be Henry teams in and Devontae Adams teams in. So there's guys who could get you there from, I think, pretty much. I mean, actually, like the one spot is one of the spots that I don't know how represented that'll be because McCaffrey was out so long. Mm-hmm. But you could have drafted from the back end of the first round or up near the front. Dalvin Cook's ADP was so all over the place because of his contract issue that there's probably early teams that took him top 3. Teams that got him close to the turn. So I guess what I'm saying is I just want to see. Like I'm really curious.
Pete does too.
I am very curious. I do think that's an interesting thing. The problem is about that whole thing is like you can't make that decision without like data. Like we can make decisions for DFS based on ownership percentages. If we had clean ownership percentage, it would be so easy to make those decisions. Without it, you're kind of flying blind.
Speaking of which, Leone said it's legit minus EV to not carry a second kicker, which he's an analytics guy in Sharp. So I immediately assumed that he had some good data to back that up. But he just texted me, I legit lost 10K not carrying a second kicker in this format because he got hurt and had to take a 0. So I think his data is just that one data point that he lost 10K in this.
It's a pretty good data point.
But I do think the chances of your kicker getting hurt over the course of a 3-week sample are probably higher than, or getting COVID, especially this year, are probably higher than like the guy you drop for that kicker being in your starting lineup. Right?
Happy Thanksgiving, Leone.
Good Lord.
we have a love-hate relationship.
That's amazing.
Do you really do think that the chances are higher that that the guy gets hurt than like say Keyshawn Vaughn? So the we should talk about different types of running back stashes. But the reason I have Vaughn, the reason the types of stashes that I'm targeting are guys further down depth charts on offenses where I know there is the potential for a running back fantasy point. So technically we kind of have a handcuff here with Ronald Jones, but I feel like Vaughn could be the idea is if something happened to both Jones and Fournette over the coming few weeks. And that seems like a long shot, but it actually also happens fairly regularly, especially late in the season. That's where Justin Jackson came from a couple of years ago. Both Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler went down. That's where Damian Williams came from. I guess Kareem Hunt got cut, but there was like other, I think getting
you need that to happen. But let's say best case scenario, one goes down in week 14, the other goes down in week 15. You get 1 week out of it.
Well, it's only week 12 now. So
right. But you wouldn't pick them up until after this week. You wouldn't pick up a second kicker. Sorry, you wouldn't add another kicker until like even in the rosters where we plan to add kickers, we're not doing it until after this week. So the last week of waivers.
It's before 13.
You're right. It would be before 13. So maybe best case one goes down 13, one goes down 14, and then you get 2 weeks out of it, which is pretty that would be difference making.
There's going to be at least 1 or 2 guys in weeks 15 or 16 this year. I mean, yay or nay, true or false? You guys tell me. There's going to be at least 1 or 2 guys that we don't know right now, that's probably not on a lot of rosters right now, that's going to get a start and get a workhorse role in any of the week 15 or 16 this season.
Yes, agreed.
That's probably true, right?
Yeah.
So part of it's like if you stash guys, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be Keyshawn Vaughn, but if I stash 3 dudes like that, I also have Rashad Penny and Justin Jackson, who's out now, but could just as easily be him if Eckler can't get back with his hamstring, re-injures it. Jackson's hurt. Penny and Jackson are both hurt right now, so that's a weird side. But we almost cut Jackson today. It's a difficult thing to understand. The other guys that we have claims in. Oh, we are cutting Jackson today. I'm sorry. I put claims in for Darrell Williams and Divine Zigbo because if something happens to James Robinson, Jacksonville is a great spot for that to happen. And then Darrell Williams is a perfect example of that number 3 guy. Especially like if something happened to CEH, and then let's just say Le'Veon Bell's not good.
Well, we don't have to do that as a hypothetical.
We're already seeing Darrell Williams snaps on passing downs, right? There are scenarios where he ends up being more valuable than Bell. It might not even require 2 injuries in that scenario. So guys like that, where that seems very narrow, but if the injuries occur, I'm starting that guy immediately, right? Like the ups, if you're targeting guys that have upside.
I think that's what you need to. So like Devontae Booker is a guy that I would want, because I think if Jacobs were to go down, you're starting Devontae Booker, and there's no question about it.
He would crush. Jacobs was down, yeah.
Yeah, but if Ronald Jones goes down, are you starting Keyshawn Vaughn? Like, I don't know that I would be comfortable starting Keyshawn Vaughn. I'd need to see it. And now it's like, well, I've wasted one of the weeks that I would get out of it. So guys like Keyshawn Vaughn, guys like Darrell Williams, where I think Darrell Williams sucks. And so I wouldn't be psyched to put him in my lineup, even if CEH went down. And I wouldn't know what the split's going to be. It would be all kind of up in the air. So I think there's 2 classes of guys. If you can get those nice, clean stashes that, like, no question, they're slotting right into your lineup ahead of guys like Nyheim Hines or whoever else, that, because, pretty much all these teams are in decent shape. They got to the championship round. So there's opportunity cost of whoever you're taking out of your lineup to put in a guy like Darrell Williams.
Yeah, I have Booker in a couple places. I stashed him, like Scott Fishbowl is obviously a free league, but doing really well in that. And so I'm taking it very seriously. I'm in the top 10 overall of 1,400 teams, and I stashed him there, a few weeks back. Agree with him, like, as a good option. He's like clearly the potential DeAndre Washington this year if Jacobs were to get hurt. But there's not a lot of options, right? And there are even more that have been dropped in the last few weeks that are now off limits. So like the running backs you're looking at, I think Booker's probably rostered everywhere, right? And so it's kind of where can you go? The argument for Vaughn, I think, is that he would play on passing downs. Rojo is not going to, as much as we both love him, Pat, and I mean, I know you love him more.
How bad must Keyshawn Vaughn be that he can't get ahead of Leonard Fournette?
And then Fournette dropped 3 balls this week, was what I was gonna say. So we might already, like, what, he wasn't active this week, Vaughn, but what if he's active next week? I think that would be really interesting. Maybe he plays on a few passing downs.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Vaughn can't possibly have any impact, but it's sort of like if your kicker goes down, that second kicker is 100% adding value to your lineup, because there's part of this where, like, the guy goes, running back goes down that opens up value on your team. Then you need someone to McCoy is active over Vaughn, according to Leone.
Get Leone on the stream.
I think Leone might be right about that.
I already sent him the link. I
Very
DM'd him
brand.
the link. He's welcome to come on if he wants. Yeah.
Okay, so the guy, the opportunity needs to open up. Then you need to, like, want to start him. Then he needs to actually deliver on that and deliver value to your team over the other options on your bench. Whereas the kicker, it's just so clean. Like, if your kicker gets hurt, now you have another kicker. So that's kind of, it's just easier. Where I don't know, it's really hard to peg the exact percentage, but you can see that, like, the percentage of it mattering is like 100% if you lose the kicker, where it's not even 100% if you have the running back hit.
I'm gonna go get a drink while Leone introduces himself.
All right, Leone.
I've got chocolate pudding on myself.
Yeah, how much have you been drinking today?
Listen, Ben, there are 2 kickers that are questionable tomorrow. I mean, you know how often kickers are rotating this year?
Is that enough data for you, Gretch?
There's like legitimately 2 kicker changes a week. And you're going to risk a 0
kickers.
because your 8th running back might get in if you have 2.5 running back injuries.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
What's going on over there?
I think I'm too loud.
This has been a tough day for marriages in the fantasy football industry.
That was the old door shut behind me.
Oh, yeah. You missed a good moment, Pete.
What was that?
The door was shut rather loudly on Leone.
Uh-oh. Oh, she's pissed?
Leone's been drinking for hours too.
Dude, Lauren's so done with me tonight, man.
She hasn't had to see you all day.
Yeah, it's not good. So did you just put Ben in his place about kickers?
I don't
No,
know. He just
tried to, but no.
I don't understand what Ben's not grasping here. I could talk about this for an hour.
Well, right. We're
Now,
talking about a probability thing. Like, what are the chances that your kicker doesn't play versus the chance that you hit on some scratch off running back that makes it into your starting lineup, right?
And you have to really hit on the scratch running back because the kicker is like plus 10 points a week.
But that's not the point. Like, you're a DFS guy. You understand odds. Like, it's not about it's not about the one additional player. It's about having as many backup running backs with upside that we can roster, because that's our clear weak spot. And can we cut out, like, we're carrying a backup quarterback, obviously. We're carrying, Cam Newton. We're carrying a backup defense, which maybe doesn't make sense.
Why the fuck are you carrying a backup defense over a backup kicker?
Well,
that's insane.
Leone, I wanted to get your thoughts. We talked about this on Establish the Edge. You are not really pro backup defense. You're pro backup kicker, but not pro backup defense.
That makes sense. The defense is going to roll out every week, no matter what.
But the matchup equity. I mean,
and get you 3 points,
dude. Defense. The points allowed doesn't matter, which immediately limits the importance of the matchup. And we know from DFS that's like the most variant thing to predict anyway. So you're going to take a backup kicker where you're guaranteed points every week no matter what, or a backup defense where you're guaranteed points no matter what, over a backup kicker where you can legit take a 0.
I'm saying maybe take both. I was wondering if you would.
Any non-zero points is not created.
No, I would not take both. I would take the running back stash over the backup defense. Okay. But like the backup defense versus the backup kicker should not even be a question. Like one of those is clearly more important.
No.
Yeah.
What?
You think a backup defense is more important than the backup kicker?
You're acting like matchups don't matter at all. And I don't know if, like, you said to me the other day, or in our earlier stream, if I had looked at the running backs on the slate. Have you looked at the playoff schedules? Have you looked at the week 14 to 16 schedules? Because there's no streamable defenses that have three even remotely good matchups. It just hasn't played out that way this year.
Because the points allowed don't matter, like the impact of that is so small.
Right, but you're locking in a matchup against like a really good offense with pretty much any defense.
But why is that bad? I mean, you just want pass attempts against. That could even be a good thing.
Yeah, and that's why I actually think...
I want Patrick Mahomes pass attempts against my defense. It's going to be a good thing.
I mean, it's not going to be. It's not going to. It isn't the points allowed cut off 12. Like
we actually lost the 1 seed because of friggin' Tom Brady's pass attempts.
Oh, really? Was it because of Rojo, Pat?
Nah, it's because Tom Brady did.
We literally needed like 1 catch from Rojo to get the
bounced off his hand.
So
also, Pat, we were in the weeds because we ended up getting first in our main event league in points, and Pat was just like, Pat was like, that Brady interception was a $3,000 swing, and I was like, what? It was a $500 swing, but it still hurt.
It still hurt.
But on the defensive front, as far as like a set it and forget it defense, and someone mentioned this in the chat earlier, Seattle's defense is very nice for weeks 14 through 16. They're home versus New York Jets, then they're at Washington, then home versus Jared Goff in week 16. And I kind of feel like that checks a lot of the boxes too, of like a team who gets in these shootouts and is playing against bad quarterbacks and can get lots of potential turnovers in high-scoring games. So I do like the Seattle defense a lot.
We have a bit on them.
Yeah.
As well.
Leone, you're kind of a stats guy. Is yards per catch like a predictive stat that people use a lot?
Yeah, it's a lot stickier than yards per target, like if you break up the components.
God damn.
What?
Did I not answer? It's stickier than like yards per target. If you break
yards per catch is stickier than yards per target. All right. Someone was talking trash on Rojo, and I thought maybe you'd.
Yeah, but that's just because yards per catch is influenced by depth, and yards per target adds in.
Yeah, that's
influenced by depth.
What? Yeah, it's also influenced by depth, but it adds in catch rate, and I mean that's you're looking at stats in the aggregate, not thinking about what the stats are. Take right there.
Yeah.
I was legitimately asked a question about it. And
Get your nose out of the spreadsheets, Leone.
I really did. That's how I do my DFS projections. I don't do yards per target. I break out the components, catch rate and yards per catch.
I didn't think this. I thought this stream was supposed to be like this fun.
Dude,
like
we were supposed to go through our teams.
Just like arguing about dumb
We made the playoffs in 6 of 8 teams, and we've been arguing about kickers for 35 minutes.
I love it so much. That's I came on it. I just like to argue with Gretch, but
I know we have a good time.
I do. 38 kickers have made field goals this year. Just for the record.
What's the takeaway there, Leo?
Yeah, what is
more than
that?
32? It's more than 32.
That's 6 more than 32, buddy. Let's see how many I've made. Look, you asked for data points. I'm giving them to you.
Leone, fucking kicker data scientist over here.
41 kickers have attempted.
Kicker data scientist, lead of kicker analytics.
All right, I can't wait for you guys to roster a backup defense and have your kicker get hurt.
We're rostering a backup kicker. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, okay. It sounded like there was doubt.
If your kicker gets hurt, then like there's a million ways you can lose this. Like I don't understand why you can't just take that as a probability that.
Well, here's the thing, Ben. We have a team with Sean, and I tried to drop Chris Boswell on that team, and he sent me an email with the subject of Boswell. So I don't think we're going to be able to get rid of Boswell there, and we're gonna we somehow have Badgley there. But anyway, I think we're gonna have 2 kickers.
It is a probability thing, and the probability says you should take the backup kicker. You were to sim it out.
I also was trying to drop Badgley, and Sean sent me an email that was like, is this because of the field goal he missed? Because they've been putting up a lot of points. Like, he got offended that I wanted to drop Badgley.
It's like 3 paragraphs long, and it's like, now, Pete, like, the reason I could see dropping Badgley is like X, Y, and Z, and Pete's like, I just looked at some rankings, man.
But who am I to question Sean? I mean, come on.
Well, obviously, we should have had Sean on for the kicker show. I mean, it sounds like he's got the takes.
Well, this wasn't supposed to be a kicker.
Well, Ben, you were objecting. Ben was laughing at the idea of playing kickers with better matchups than other kickers are. I mean, Ben is firmly kickers don't matter. Like, that is clear. That's your position.
But, you know, I got to take the backup defense.
I don't think that it's clear at all. I mentioned that I used to write that article that looked at implied totals and broke it up by the percentage of points that each offense scored and defense scored. And it was pretty predictive of kicker scoring. If you looked at the percentage of points that offenses score in a kicking game, and then the opponent, like the opponent's allowed percentages. But what I wrote that for a few years, and what you learn is like the high implied totals on teams that are willing to kick field goals matter. And the whole point here, I wasn't necessarily laughing at the idea, but we have Zane Gonzalez. They're going to have high implied totals every week. They do score a reasonably high percentage of their points on field goals. And then the matchup's another component of that I don't think matters that much. If you have a kicker for a really good offense that also settles for field goals, it's not like, I don't know. I don't think you need to have a second kicker.
So you're basically so into Zane Gonzalez that you don't even carry a second kicker. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
What's there not to love about Zane Gonzalez?
He could get hurt. He could get COVID.
Also, Paramar says he has a weak noodle leg. Shots fired.
It's a good thing you don't use your real names, your handle there. Gretch would.
Yeah, here's Henry Muto, who I believe is in first place in the main event. I always am the first or second person to take a kicker in my drafts. Sick brag, Henry.
Right. He knows that when you have a good kicker, you're set. You're just set.
Yes, COVID. Imagine you only have 3 running backs in a COVID year. That's what Pittsburgh Steelers fan 2964367 said to us in one of our drafts. I mean, might as well. Let's just lean into this. Matt Gay or Joey Sly as my kicker number 2.
Gotta be Joey Sly, right?
Gotta be Joey Sly.
Yeah.
Gotta be Joey Sly, man. Have you seen the photo of Joey Sly, man? Dude looks like
run the highlight reel.
The Joey Slye.
We have a Young Hoku one, but no Joey Slye.
I don't even know what we're doing on this show anymore. Does anyone have questions? Ask questions.
Is there anything to talk about? I mean,
we're gonna run through our teams that made the playoffs. Do you want to pull those up, Pete?
I've already seen them like 12 times this year. I know I can name your teams. You guys have a lot of Keenan Allen.
Right, let's have Ben. Let's have Ben.
Yeah, let's see if Ben can recite.
Your Crack Rock team has Keenan Allen. That's dope.
We got Crack Rock in the chat. Yeah.
I want to see your Crack Rock team. It's got
this
Keenan
is
Allen
the Crack Rock team.
Yeah, this team's sweet. This is your best team.
It is. So we got Josh Allen and Herbert. We also have Keenan Allen and Diggs. With it, we have hopefully Eckler and Gaskin coming back soon to pair with Ahmed and Henry. Picked up Claypool on waivers to go with DJ Moore. We cranked it purple there. So we got Hawkinson, Hunter Henry, Jared Cook, and then we got some rookies percolating on the bench, the aforementioned Devonta Booker, some handcuffs here. So the only thing this team is missing is a backup kicker, in my opinion.
And a backup defense. You're going to roster Minnesota through the fantasy playoffs.
Hey, we have bids in for defense. I have bids in for 2 defenses right now, so just relax.
I'm just glad I don't have a main event team with Leone. We would argue over this for at least 3 hours.
Dude, there's nothing Gretch and I love more than to argue about like little tiny things.
If you've tuned into our Fantasy Football World Series draft streams, you have seen this.
I am a little stunned that Gretch is so pro second defense, which kind of like goes against the exact argument he was making for not taking a backup kicker, which is the probability of one of those running back stashes hitting.
No, it's not that. I understand that in a perfect world, the position that can get injured matters more. What my team has is a good kicker and bad defenses, and I want to be able to optimize for defensive upside.
I think you're way overestimating your ability to play the correct defense. Like
getting 2 matchups against the Jets across 2 different teams that's not optimal.
They're letting Flacco cook.
I mean, I'm afraid of Joe Flacco.
You're probably going to increase your defensive scoring, yes, but there's a cost, and I don't think the reward is worth the cost.
I've really tried to move.
What's the cost? An insurance policy at kicker that I'm not going to play over Zane Gonzalez?
Dude, forget comparing it to kicker, just do the exact same argument you made for not taking the kicker relative to stashing a running back. Like you just should not be taking a second defense. Literally anything is better.
Literally anything.
Someone ask a question so we can just move on.
Please, for the love of God, someone. We've never needed the chat more. We'll talk about anyone. Antonio Brown, whoever you want.
Get drunk, bring me on a stream to talk about kickers and defenses.
I'm getting some beers.
It's fucking like 3 p.m. on the West Coast right now, and Gretch is finally getting on our level.
That team is disgusting, though, that you guys have.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. This is what happens when you marry some 0 RB donkeys with a FFPC grinder. You make beautiful, beautiful music. Davis's best team is one he made with no Riddell. I think it's taking our extremist ideologies and mashing it up with a grinder. That's the secret sauce. And you guys
Henry too, right? And he like major tilted it.
Yeah. What is it? Who was your running back that you guys have in your silver bullet team where you guys are doing well?
We drafted Christian McCaffrey, but we've been rolling out Darrell Henderson and Gaskin and Ahmed and those types.
Yeah.
We are 4th overall right now.
Nice. And that's the silver bullet means single entry, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We do not have to take a backup kicker because they do team kicker.
See, that would be an awesome change for the FFPC playoffs.
Yeah. Could you imagine if you had the Arizona Cardinals team kicker?
Imagine how much time you would have back on the stream. Kicker.
Hey, God, actually, this is a good question. Or it's not even a question, but people are talking about Antonio Brown. 3 of us, Leone wasn't on this one. We were very adamant. We were battling with the chat. I'm willing to take L's. I will take L's. I feel like I need to take an L on Antonio Brown not being a thing because he is definitely a thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm taking the L. Andrew Wiggins was trying to get me on AB like super early, and I wasn't buying it, and he was correct.
When he's out there, Brady is looking for him at an extremely high rate.
We underestimated. I think Levitan puts it best. You know, if you're willing to have a psychopath stay in your house with your family, you're probably going to throw him the ball.
Yeah.
And the thing is like they're using him at all depths of the field. Like he's getting the intermediary and the deep shots. Like, and Sean had an article on Rotoviz too about the Bucks passing game schedule. He was actually advocating for buying Godwin, I think mainly in a dynasty context, but I mean, that lines up for Antonio Brown too. Like they've had, I think he said the 5th hardest schedule to date for pass games, and they have one of the easiest schedules in the fantasy playoffs. So I'm taking the L. I do think Antonio Brown is going to be a league winner.
Is going to be a league winner.
I don't know if it'll be a league winner, but certainly
kind of overstating what he's actually done.
I mean, what did he just come off of? Did he have 8 targets? He's getting used in all areas.
13 targets, and he turned out a whopping 57 yards.
Yeah,
but he did drop that.
Getting easier.
If he had connected on that deep shot where he did have a step on the guy, it would have been a much better game.
There's probably going to be no more team that swings more on matchup than the Brady-led Bucks because he's got the noodle arm that can't be any good defense, but his receivers are too good and they're too pass happy for him to fail against these bad teams. And they've got the Vikings, Falcons, Lions in the playoffs. 2 dome games, baby.
Ben doesn't care about dome. All he's doing
he doesn't care about domes either.
Ben doesn't care about anything but Zane Gonzalez just kicking 75 yarders.
Gonzalez and maximizing, an extra 0.6 points from defense matchups.
Defenses can't score 0.6 points. This is how I know you've been just looking at your simulations.
Value over time, Ben. Do you know how that works? Do you not want me to write out the expected value formula for you? It's an average, buddy.
How much money do you get for those 0.6 points? What's the expected payout?
Figure we could show some bets here, some waiver bids here before now that waivers have processed. This is in our main event team where we finished first in points. And again, we were just picking up kickers and defenses here. Nothing too exciting to write home about. Leone, boots on the ground, Tyler Bass. I mean, just an absolute howitzer of a leg, right?
Yeah, but the accuracy is an issue. What's with this $1 bid and no drop? Was that a mistake, or you just were like?
Pat put those in, and I
canceled it. I threw in some guys to talk about, and then we decided we didn't have a drop, so we didn't do it.
Yeah, Ahmed missing practice that's not great. But you got Gaskin anyway, so
yeah. I'm seeing what other bids here. This is the league we have with Ben and Sean. Another big ass bid on Tyler Bass. I mean, just the fucking thighs of Poseidon on this dude, man.
Poseidon?
Does Poseidon have big thighs?
I think he probably does.
He probably does. Over here with Chasing OT, a bid on 10.
Hey guys, are you worried about if both of our kickers get hurt? What would we do?
Dude, okay. Leone, go after him. I mean,
he's just being intellectually dishonest right now. You guys got to get a different kicker for the overall playoff run. You got to dump Bass for the overall playoff run. Just FYI.
You just what's the boots on the ground take on?
Well, you've got 3 outdoor games, 2 on the East Coast,
dude. But what if you have? What if you have toes like Zeus, and you have kneecaps like Icarus? I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah,
he could have went with Achilles heel.
He's literally the only one of these guys who died.
Yeah, because he flew too close to the championship.
Yeah, well, that would be bad for us.
By only rostering one running back.
Here's a question. Someone to save us from our bullshit. Which Patriot running back is worth having for the playoff run?
Oh, hot take, James White.
If you watched Stat Chasing, Leone, you would have seen me make the same take. I think it's James White.
What, the guy that I was trying to tell you we should have started last week on our team, Leone, that you didn't want to play?
What?
Well, Rex Burkhead hadn't torn his knee
Show me that conversation. I think you had this argument in your head.
No, it was 2 weeks ago. It was the first week of this quarter. I was like, should we be putting James White in here? And you're like, no, let's stick with these terrible players like Marquise Brown that I wanted to draft really bad.
I mean, it is what it is. Did you tell everyone how a spreadsheet error led us to draft Tom Brady over Justin Herbert?
I did not, but it's funny that you
wait. I want to hear this story.
It's fantastic. Leone, you do it.
Well, okay. I want to give the whole background because if I'm going to take an L, I'm going to bring Gretch down with me. So in my spreadsheet, my season-long stuff, I still had like a small passing share for Tyrod Taylor because I had it from earlier in the year when they first switched and it was uncertain if they were going to switch back, which was obviously dragging down Herbert's projection. So
that was
we took Brady over Herbert because of that. But I will say, Gretch and I game plan before the draft. We have a whole argument over whether or not we should take a quarterback in the second round. And I said, I'm fine at taking quarterback in the second round. I have to go to a podcast with Crane. Your sole job during this hour is to figure out which quarterback you want to take because we know the good guys are going to get taken. He doesn't do that, and then we end up just taking the guy.
No, I definitely advocated for Herbert. I felt like Herbert was low. This is why you brought it back up. This is what Leone texted me yesterday, or on Monday. He wrote, "I've been afraid to tell you about a couple of revelations I've had. One."
What is even your guys' text conversation?
One doesn't matter. It was something about stacking. 2, I had an error on Herbert in the spreadsheet. He just writes it out like it's a revelation I've had that I've been afraid to tell you about.
Okay, but like we would have taken Herbert had we talked about it if you would have fucking done your homework because there's no way you would have taken Brady because you hate Olds.
Yeah, I didn't want to take Brady at all.
Herbert.
I was hoping we'd get Watson. We talked about this.
Exactly. And I knew we were going to get Watson, which is why I said, Ben, I understand you want to take a quarterback in round 2, but I don't think you're realizing the guy you want to be there, and then it's going to be like we don't know who to take thing, which is exactly what fucking happened, and we just put the guy at the top of the list because you never did the one thing you had to do, which was figure out the guy you wanted to take there.
Yeah, you're right. I drank beers instead.
That's what Pat and I do on all of our streams. Pat, when is the last time we had a disagreement about anything?
I trusted your spreadsheet. It was a beautiful spreadsheet. You kept arguing that all the projections were correct, and I was like, all right, we're going to go off this.
Pete, I honestly want to bring on 2 different co-managers every week and just have them yell at each other as we realize our process is pretty good.
The best part is mine and Leone's co-managing has been like flawless. Every quarter, our team's been very competitive. It's going very well, and we just like you'd think we were in dead last. The amount of times that we just argue with each other.
It's the passion and the grind and the will to be perfect. That
right.
We are this contest.
This is like a nerd rap battle with no rhyming.
That's pretty good.
That's the comment.
Gretch, we have to do a high stakes team together next year.
For sure, man. Absolutely. This has been a blast managing this team with you. Can you please just can you tell me that next year you're going to take fewer olds after managing with me? Did I at least move the needle in a fraction of a % away from the olds towards the youngs?
Not really. Literally, the olds have been crushing it for us. Except for Brady's been dog and been terrible this quarter. We should have taken Herbert. But you got me on guys like Diggs and like DJ Moore, even though DJ Moore hasn't panned out. But you got me. I mean,
hasn't DJ Moore been crushing the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, the past couple. I mean, like I just meant like overall in this season. But I feel like I balance the olds youngs pretty well. It's so funny because
Leone is like, I feel like I handle this situation just perfectly.
In my group of friends, they think I'm like a fantasy pedophile. They think I only like young players.
I didn't know we were gonna get us canceled.
We're gonna use a different term than that.
I used the term that I was called. I didn't invent the term. Okay. They think I like only rookies. That's all they think I like is rookies. And then I talk with you and it's like the opposite. You think I only like old guys. There's an equilibrium to be had.
Where does Marvin further Hall away from the, when you told me you had a revelation, I was convinced it was that olds aren't good.
But it was actually that you are the equilibrium between old and young.
That Leone is at the equilibrium.
that you have found it.
I hate you.
There seemed to be kind of a coming together moment. I thought we had reached a nice.
Why don't you take a seat, Mike? My name's Chris Hansen. Michael Leone, please take a seat. Kitchen at Fantasy Pedo. Who is next year to get it out? Did waivers run yet? Does it even matter?
Yeah, they ran, dude. I don't think we got any bids. No, this is why we did them yesterday. Chris Hansen's gonna pop out of Leone's closet.
Oh my god! What are we even doing?
Man. Well,
what are we even doing?
Well, we've gotten through one of our teams that
I don't even like. I literally, I've been just streaming all day. I literally have nothing else to talk about.
Gretch probably wouldn't have played AJ Green at 3,600 last week.
I certainly would not have.
So you want to? Why don't you talk about Marvin Hall, Leone?
Are you stoked because AJ Green caught his first touchdown and had like 50 yards? What did he have?
Okay, Burrow got hurt. You dirt.
He had 41 yards on 9 targets. Enjoy.
What did T. Higgins have?
Yeah, he had a down game too.
Dude, when are you going to adjust your age model and penis model, Leone?
Listen.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything else.
We're all ears.
We're all ears.
It is pretty funny that the guy that likes olds is now the fantasy pedo. I mean, that's
I don't even like olds. I just am somewhat reasonable about how math works.
It would be all of the fantasy handles are taken. We got Roto, FF, Fantasy Guru, Fantasy Pedo is wide open.
Very much available.
I thought it's surprising that the under the helmet guys haven't gotten that one. Yeah. That's a deep cut joke for the old dynasty heads there. Wow,
that was a good segment.
Very good segment. Leone, what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
I'm thankful that I'll get to go to sleep.
Leone's internet started to cut out.
I'm thankful for Leone's high quality internet.
Yeah. What is it? Is that like a floodlight behind you have now?
I'm wired.
No. What's that light? I don't know if I've noticed that before.
I don't know. I bought some lights that Pat Mayo told me to get for like my green screen thing.
There you go.
Leone, when we first started doing a pod, there was like some kind of flickering. I think you had your green screen effect on, and there's something green behind you that was kind of flickering.
Yeah, it's the painting. And I understand you can't see my mouse cursor, but I am putting my mouse cursor over the said painting.
And I actually thought that maybe your entire room was some kind of green screen effect.
Yeah, this is what I chose.
Yeah. Leone went to Google Images and searched Hobby Lobby and then
that's sort of an interesting choice.
Hobby Lobby with a giant check in the corner. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, that was like I was watching your stream with Dink earlier, and Dink's drink kept like flickering with a green screen effect.
Dink, I don't know why he has the green screen thing on, but there's zero chance he knows how to turn it off since it's on. And his drink was a brick wall. It was like the default StreamYard green screen because he had a green can. So every time he put it up, it's just like a brick wall on his drink.
Zane Gonzalez. It's like the Carolina fucking wine mixer. I don't even get that reference.
I don't know. Catalina, is that a Step Brothers reference?
Yeah,
Catalina,
Step Brothers.
and he doesn't play for Carolina Panthers. So,
hey, we're at that point of the night here. Should we wrap this up? I feel like this is
you're supposed to show your teams and the waivers and who you got and everything. Remember?
No, this is what's happened to this show. Like we had a fork in the road this season, and we made a choice. We said, do we bring our friends on and drink beers and make fun of each other for our kicker strategies, or do Pat and I talk about our teams? And we made our choice, and that choice is bringing our friends on and getting drunk. We got to live with that decision.
Crane's camera, though. Crane's got like the
I don't know how to turn it off.
Kind of.
Oh man, he's very sensitive about that. I can't believe you brought that
is
up.
he? Oh, is he?
I'm about to fucking lose it. No, I just don't know how to turn this off. I'm not sure why.
It's like you're in the fishbowl or something.
Yeah, it is. I'm a big Scott Fishbowl guy, so I picked this.
There's also like this spy cam like that people don't realize it's on. It's a Chris Hansen camera setup.
You guys better start asking.
You're pretty familiar with that, huh?
Leone, what does that camera make his mic look like? Can't tell.
You're immature.
The chat better start asking some questions, or we'll power this down. I have no more unique thoughts today. I've exhausted them all.
You guys ready to win some money in DFS tomorrow?
Dude, hang on. Like, real talk. Are we registered, Leone, for that 1,500? And are we okay with that on a 2-gamer?
You guys are still. I deregistered everything when I went to a 2-gamer. I
asked you that hours ago.
Really? Well, did you realize that I was fucking drunken on 19 live streams when you asked me that?
Leone, sell me on Zeke. You were trolling our show earlier.
I was mostly just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
He's like fine. I think he's the best. If Swift was out, I think he would be the best like value play on the slate, but I think he's an okay fade.
So obviously you're projecting Zeke higher. My question is, if you knew Swift was going to play 60% of the snaps.
I'm projecting Swift higher, even with like a more conservative projection. If Swift's in, Swift is the best play.
Okay. You're with me then.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't even argue with you about this.
No. Zeke's fine. I like fading Gibson and playing Duke Johnson, but it kind of depends where you think the ownership comes in.
So
guys,
you are not on team. You have to play Washington. I think one of the Washington running backs with all the high value touches there, like there's going to be receptions there. And a 2-game slate, how do neither Gibson or McKissick get there?
I mean, they could just get outscored by someone, though. I mean,
yeah,
like
Duke Johnson. Yeah, that's a good point.
I like McKissick more than I think people are going to chase Antonio Gibson's game log, and I think his role really hasn't changed. He's the same guy people were afraid to play 3 weeks ago. It's gone well for him, and we were playing him the last couple of weeks.
Leone, are you on fade Watson in small field stuff?
I have Watson in my small field. I'm worried he's gonna be like 80% owned, but
yeah.
If I run my sims, like the top repeating lineups are like 90% Watson, because you almost need him to get outscored straight up by Stafford because the cap doesn't matter. So I'm on play Marvin Jones. Oh, here comes me getting made fun of for olds, but
I like Marvin Jones.
I think of
where did
Cooks.
Pat go?
I have no idea.
Like Cooks and McLaurin.
I didn't move it. Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't play like Gibson and McLaurin.
You wouldn't.
I don't know. Probably
I think that's viable. In fact, I like that. That's my favorite lineup. I have both Gibson and McLaurin. But I'm fading the Cowboys entirely.
I think Gibson and McLaurin's a bad tournament pairing in smaller field stuff. I think the ownership's too high there on those two guys.
Okay.
Like, I don't think McLaurin is the clear-cut best receiver on the slate, and I think the field probably thinks he is.
Yeah, I made that case earlier, but I still think he's a very good play. But
Who do you think is the best receiver, Leone?
Like, tournament-wise or just
Tournament-wise.
No, just in my head-to-head GPPs with my mother-in-law, Michael.
I think Marvin Jones is relative to ownership. I think it's Marvin Jones.
wow, we're kind of on the same wavelength. That was,
Or maybe Amari Cooper. I don't know.
Yeah, I like both those guys.
I think for anyone who tuned into our 1:00 live stream, like Leone, probably where he got the idea. We discussed Marvin Jones a little bit.
Well, McLaurin, we stealing signals, fucking illegal formations, man. McLaurin, Fuller, and Cooks just feel like they're all going to be so chalky. It feels bad to play all three of them, which then back to our Marvin Jones and Amari Cooper.
This is how we're going to end this show. The four of us are going to build a Millie Maker line.
Yes.
My treat. And we will argue and we will fight and we will hate each other by the end of it.
Yes. This is a great idea.
To take a kicker.
Can we lobby together?
We need 2 kickers, Leone. We need 2.
Well, if we played Showdown, we could do that, actually, Gretch.
Let's not do that. Oh, we just.
Oh, wait, but both kickers are questionable tomorrow, so it gets a little dicey.
Now the kickers don't get hurt, though.
That's not the case at all. That's not the point. The point is to be risky.
All right. Let's start with Gretch. Gretch, you get the first pick. And this lineup should tell a story, guys. Do
you want me to take a pick that I believe in, or I want
to make a good fucking lineup, Gretch. That's what I want.
This is the Millie Maker, right?
It's a Millie Maker. Yeah.
Well, there is one play that I think should be in every single lineup.
Then put it in this one.
I think it's got to get in this lineup anyway. So,
but we're not trying to fool each other.
We're
trying to build a good lineup.
Oh my god!
I'm trying to influence this lineup more than my share.
Oh my god, dude! You got first pick. What else do you want?
I gave you first pick, and you're now sandbagging that. You're sick, dude.
DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is the pick.
All right.
Oh, I would have picked him anyways.
All right, we'll go to Leone.
I'm Marvin Jones. We've been talking about it.
Yeah.
All right, we got DeAndre Swift and Marvin Jones. All right. I'll do McLaurin. I know it's chalky, but
all right. So now we have this, and we also have Leone Sims that say there's 110% chance that Watson is the best QB on the slate. So what do we do with this? I won't make the quarterback decision. I will stay here. I'll put in Amari.
So we have a bunch of receivers that aren't stacked.
This is a terrible lineup already.
This is okay. No,
this is how you win a fucking $1 million.
No, we're okay. We're okay.
So it's back to me, and we're playing 2 Detroit Lions. So I mean, we're either playing Stafford or we're playing. I mean, we're not necessarily.
I mean, it's a 2-game slate.
That's a good point.
Everyone overthinks these 2 games.
That's a good point. I like this lineup so far, but
I thought 4 seconds ago you didn't like it.
I'm gonna take Akins.
Oh god, I think the worst play on the slate.
All right. No, don't take Akins.
You're gonna let Leone bully you off your pick?
Well, because I still think this should be a Watson lineup, but maybe it shouldn't be.
I mean, don't let Leone bully you, man. It's your pick.
Bully you, dude. It's your pick. You go with your heart. If your heart of heart says let's take a chalky Jordan Akins, let's do it.
No, I mean, I'm curious where you would go here. You're better at GBPs. You are a very good DFS player.
Fleet overs that gets that title. I would probably take Duke and make it a Stafford lineup. I don't know, but this is a group lineup. You do your thing, and I'll go based off what you do.
Yeah, a Stafford lineup with Swift and Jones.
The two potentially leading pass catchers.
All right. Then we'll do. You would do Duke though. Then we won't.
We'll pick whoever you want. You
block the Duke pick. That's what we have to do. We'll take Antonio Gibson to stack with Terry McLaurin because Washington's going to win.
What? Take McKissick if you're doing McLaurin.
Yeah. Or take Akins. Can we please? I lied.
Let's go back to
Akins. Can we put Akins back?
How do you not think that Gibson and McLaurin can play together? I don't understand.
I just think it's stupid to win a fucking $1 million by taking two chalky guys on the same team who are like somewhat negatively correlated.
All right.
What's your pick, Ben?
But you know, Gibson's young, so.
I can mostly argue with Leone about everything, but you know, DFS theory is.
No, you can argue with me about DFS. No one knows what they're doing. That's the secret, man.
Shouldn't have told me the secret.
What's the pick?
I don't have a good pick.
Oh my god.
Ben, you were trying to not pick DeAndre Swift so that you could get more picks in. And then you came around and you fucking panicked.
Stafford, so Leone can take Duke Johnson and make this a freaking like Duke Johnson's the worst play on the entire slate. But let's.
What?
Why do you hate Duke so much?
He's clean leverage on Watson, and this isn't a Watson lineup.
Why do you hate Duke so much? Before I make my pick,
because he both doesn't. I made the case on the show earlier. He doesn't get enough high value touches because this offense doesn't generate them for running backs. He doesn't get green zone touches like he should. He doesn't catch enough passes, and somehow doesn't get low value touches either. He doesn't get like 20 carries. He's just like empty snaps. It's annoying.
I think that's a little bit noisy though, in my opinion. Like if they have more goal line touches, he's gonna get them.
Yeah, he did have a short TD a couple weeks ago. Like he's not that world play. I just
don't
know him.
And 2 weeks ago was the Wind game, which was just like a total shit show.
Yeah.
They had 0 high value touches in that game. And last week he had 5 targets. So I'm gonna pick
this was a great call from Clay Sutton here. I should have picked the defense. He goes pick a D.
All right, I literally what did you guys just figure out? Who am I putting?
I took Stafford. Leone's.
Leone's
before he takes Duke. I'm trying to convince him. I guess not to. I don't know. Maybe he's a good play. I don't freaking know.
I'll take Duke. So we don't play Antonio Gibson.
Who's it? Is it to you, Pat?
Duke Johnson is not going to get. Anyway.
Dude, if he scores 15 points.
Yeah, but the way that like you correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that a running back correlation works well with a quarterback double stack is if that team's ahead and can be like a 20 carry running back who can run for and maybe hit the 100-yard bonus, like there's no scenario where Duke gets that. Deshaun Watson, they've been passing a ton, especially since Bill O'Brien got fired. Like they've went very pass heavy. There's not going to be a Duke Johnson running game. But maybe, it's a small slate. Maybe he gets there on receptions or something. I don't know.
I just think you're overthinking it a little bit. we don't need the 90th percentile outcome on a 2-game slate. We just need him to score instead of the receivers and maybe the offense.
And this is why you're better than me at DFS. You're just like, we don't need the 90th.
Gretch and Leone sound like me and my wife argue about how to load the dishwasher. So true. Pat, what's your pick?
How chalky do we think TJ Hawkinson's going to be?
You're going with the Pete overs at TM QB running back wide receiver tight end stack.
That's the bind for TM. That everything I say is just ripped off from smarter people than me. But I do like that strat.
I kind of like that too at this point.
All
this line's dead anyway. We might as well
I'll go Hawk.
All right.
Ooh, I know. Okay.
So then it's back to me. I feel like we need. Actually, all right.
What do we want to talk this out, or do you want to pick clean?
No,
he wants to take the pick so bad.
I want
Leone's like, Pete, what if you just like maybe pick the defense?
Check your text.
And then we
You probably got something.
Talk it out, Leone. Talk it out.
Leone made a projection error on Duke Johnson, and he's desperate to get another pick in.
Talk it out, Leone.
No, screw you guys. You know?
Come on. Leone, I'm the one that just volunteered on my pick.
I thought was just like, if we're going, we know that Detroit doesn't really want to throw the ball a ton if they can get around it.
Well, we're in trouble if they don't want to throw the ball.
Well, so maybe we should just onslaught the game at this point.
Yes.
And that
was my thought. It has to be a Texan, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. I was trying to be a little more vague so that Pete could make the pick for himself.
This is so fun. Will you guys all reach out and hold my hands while I make this pick?
You can't have 4 Lions and only one Duke Johnson coming back for the Texans. You got to get another Texan in this lineup.
What do you guys think about Kiki fucking QT?
That sounds terrible.
Oh, yeah? You'd rather fucking sniff chalk, you pedo chalk donkey?
We're already on this Stafford triple.
We're on a Stafford triple. Just pick one of the good Texans.
Watson's going to be mega.
What, you want Cooks? I'm not picking Fuller. If Fuller goes off, Deshaun Watson is going to be in the winning lineup.
Oh, you're on the correlation thing. That's right.
Yeah. Tell me a story where Fuller
Leone,
goes
who would
for
be your
3
pick right
touchdowns and Deshaun Watson is the quarterback.
He doesn't need to go for 3.
Do you want to know my pick, Ben, or no? Or are you just going to make fun of me?
No, I do.
I would take Cooks because Fuller doesn't leave you enough for the right defense anyway. So I would take Cooks.
Salary makes sense.
And then you can, I don't know, you can take either Cowboys or Washington, whichever defense
definitely
it's your pleasure.
Yeah, this whole experience is about pleasure.
It's your pick. Who are you taking? Fuller. You're taking Fuller? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
no. Fuller. No, I was messing that up. I was trying
you're taking Cooks. Sorry.
I was trying to put McLaurin in the
flag. So drunk that I thought it was a bit.
I'm sober as fuck, dude. Pick. Who's our defense?
Oh, you put McLaurin in the flex, got it.
Gretch.
Little pro move.
Oh, I'm going to take Washington, I think. I mean, what, are they super chalky? I haven't looked at ownership enough.
No.
It's all pretty balanced. Yeah, I'm going to take – I think Washington wins outright. I said that earlier. And I also think they have the better defense. And I also think Andy Dalton's the better quarterback to target. Alex Smith's so conservative.
I love how you guys are telling me there's no chance we're duped when we don't have a single guy that's under 25% ownership.
I do really like home defenses. I don't know.
I would be shocked if this lineup wasn't duped.
Peter, am I wrong on Duke Johnson versus Gibson on ownership though? Like I might just have that wrong.
No. I think you're completely right. I think everyone's going to be playing Watson stacks with Gibson and not Duke.
Okay.
But I think this lineup is 100% fucking Duke. This is a very Duke lineup here. That's why I wanted to play PPQP.
Kitchen go,
Kitchen just comes in.
That's what the thing. You guys are all making fun of me. You guys are making fun of me about Kiki Kuti, and that is actually the play in this lineup. Not to be Duke.
All right. So, Drew was making this point on the podcast we did earlier when Ricky D won on the 2-game slate. That Kansas City slate. Basically, he sort of constructed a lineup like we're doing and then subbed in. I mean, I don't know if this is how he got to the lineup, but he basically just subbed in DeMarcus Robinson for a chalkier, more expensive receiver. And DeMarcus Robinson outscored the receiver in the chalkier, the same build with the, salary filling.
Oh, so you mean receiver. Like Kiki over Brandon Cooks?
That's exactly what he means.
Oh, wow. It's like we're back to what I said initially.
Just do it. It's the
I was supporting you.
No one was supporting me. Everyone shot me down when I put him in.
Well,
you were ahead. You were so many minutes ahead of your time.
You were ahead of us. Yeah. God, dude, learn how to take a compliment.
This is the shittiest compliment I've ever taken in my life.
I wish that Marvin Jones was a bit chalkier because I feel like the guy that I prefer to QT in like a vacuum is Jamal Agnew, who's the kind of the gross third wide receiver who we know is going to get a lot of run.
I just can't even fathom a Houston game against Detroit.
Do we know he's going to get a lot of run?
Well, he got a lot of run last week, and Amendola's out again. I guess it's certainly not locked in. Sanu was active, and maybe they play him over him.
No, I don't think they do. I was just curious what you thought. I think Agnew is probably going to go overlooked because he did have that good game, and then, Peter will make fun of me if I mention Marvin Hall, so we won't mention Marvin Hall.
I like when you put pictures like that up in front of Leone when I'm looking at him talking. It's funny.
Agnew had 24 of his 28 snaps in the slot last week, so he is very much the Danny Amendola role. He had a 1.7 yards per target, which obviously is disgusting, but he was out there. His Whopper was like almost identical to Marvin Jones's last week. So
can we talk? I've seen Mohamed Sanu's name come up like 9 times today in chats. I literally don't even know what this is about. Why are people talking about Mohamed Sanu?
He's in the Lions.
He ran a route on 33% of dropbacks or thereabouts, so I guess that's why people are talking about him.
They don't have a lot of healthy receivers. I mean, like they don't have anyone that catches the ball. It's probably because they were using Jamal Agnew that people are talking about him.
Yeah, that is probably why.
All right, I'm hitting submit on this. I hope this lineup fucking gets last place because I cannot deal with this lineup doing well.
First or last.
I love that the Texans are so clearly the best offense on the slate against a terrible D, and we play Duke Johnson and Kiki Cutie, and that's our exposure to them. Beautiful. And I got laughed out of the room for playing Jordan Akins, but I'm assuming that was ownership related.
Watson,
it was
Cooks, and Fuller are going to be the most known guys. Yeah. I like the idea of just having your tight end with your quarterback.
It's also like not crazy that the Texans score like 23 points or something in this game.
Yeah. Their team total is like 27.
I mean, it's like a 35 to 40% chance that they score like in the low 20s and don't break the slate.
I would take the over on that on those odds. On those odds. If we put a line like on those odds.
So are you taking the what do you think a team with a 27 team total? How often?
You're so close.
Okay, sorry. Go
No, keep going.
Well, I just like what do you a team with a 27 team total, like how often do you think
I'm just really bullish on Deshaun Watson right now. They're throwing a ton. Watson's playing at a super high level. The Lions are not good. They're going to pass. Since Bill O'Brien got fired, he's been phenomenal. Yeah,
they've been great. They've been super pass heavy. So I don't disagree with any of that. But if you're thinking probabilistically, like they still, unless you think that Vegas is completely wrong, they have a 27 team total. If you look at the distribution of that, they're going to
because they're on the road. Like, they're not going to be 7-point road favorites when they're 2-7.
All right, Vegas Dave, well play of the week for Gretch.
I mean, I took Houston in my odds checker article to cover. So.
Oh, and now you're going to bring up your odds checker record, aren't you? Go. What is it? Go ahead. Tell the people.
We're beating bad at.
They've given us the floor.
The
people hear your odds checker record.
It's good. I don't know. It's above 500 by a lot.
I know it's very good. I was being sincere for you.
I don't know what it is. I had a couple bad weeks the last 2 weeks.
All right, I got nothing else. I play this.
He just leave? Is he gone? I thought he just usually it's a couple seconds and then he's back.
Overset. I think Gretch is the guy we make fun of in our Slack chats who plays DFS, but I think he can predict the player outcomes.
Okay.
I wanted Peter to come in. That sounded. Instead, it just sounded mean. That's not how I meant it.
I mean, that's true. It's very true. I've spent my whole life playing seasonal and trying to predict player outcomes and being pretty good at it. And then I've had to learn DFS is a different game. Close out the show.
Guys come back.
They said close out the show to us. Well, hey, thanks for joining the Waiver Wire show.
I'm not fucking leaving.